Backlog tonight here on In Focus. The Home Affairs Department has announced that it will extend office hours ahead of next week's voter registration drive. Over 500,000 smart identity cards still need to be collected. South Africa will go to the polls next year for the national and provincial elections. The Deputy Home Affairs Minister, Njabulo Nzuza, joins us now for more on that. Good to have you, DM, and thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, good evening, Thabo, and good evening to all the viewers at home, and thank you very much for having us this night.
500,000 smart card IDs still not collected. What is behind that? And we don't know exactly when the date is for the election, but we do know that they are next year.
Yes, out of the 500 that we're talking about, the number that we're actually concerned about is the first-time issues, which is just above 130,000. So out of those, you will remember that some of the people will have passed away and they will not have collected their IDs. Some people do come and apply for their identity documents, and then they eventually find their IDs, whether they have been lost and so on. So that is why our focus mainly is the ones of just about 130,000 that we are concerned about. The others were pretty much sure, because they are second-time issue, that they did have some form of an ID that we had issued to them before.
Yeah. So you are, of course, at a position where you're able to immediately capture births and be able to capture those who would be in the system wanting their ideas, and of course capture deaths as well. But at this point, how many would you have captured in terms of those who were born about 18 years or so ago who have not applied for their IDs and could possibly be eligible to vote?
Well, remember, the first point that I would like to make with that is that there is no citizen who's going to say, I do not have an ID, or I do not have access to my ID because I've not collected it. We'll give them an opportunity to collect their IDs. That is why we're going to be opening on the voter registration weekend. That is why also this weekend we're going to be opening some of our offices to make sure that people collect. The concern in terms of the number of IDs is the first-time issue. Because you will remember that the second issue is a person who has had an ID before, whether a green barcoded ID or they had a smart ID card and then they lost it and then they come and apply for a new one. They eventually find the old one and then don't come to collect the other one. But the data, as it may be, as I've said, the number that we're focusing on is the 130,000 plus that we're looking at.
Yeah, I'm asking more outside of the 130, because at least you know those ones have applied. They just need to come and collect.
The total number.
I'm talking about those who are eligible to vote but have not actually taken the move or a step to apply for their IDs.
Well, we will not know the number of those who have not applied for their IDs. Well, the records that we have are those who have come into the office, they have applied for the ID, we have issued the ID, it is sitting with us in the office. There are other people who might not have been eligible but who do not have those IDs. But it's a very rare kind of scenario where you have people who do not apply for their identity documents. And that is why we always make sure that we go and capture them in schools when they turn the age of 16. We do not wait till they come at an eligible age of voting. We capture them whilst they are still young, using the mobile units in various schools.
All right. Let's talk then about what services will be available. In fact, as from this Saturday, is it just collection, or there are those maybe who would have lost theirs and they would want to take part in the registration next week? What happens?
Yes, those people who have lost their identity documents, who need to go to and register with the IEC, we are able to offer them what we call temporary identity certificates, which they can use to go and register. Those who want to come and collect, they can come and collect. We are also going to be taking new applications for those young people who will be coming in for the first time. We'll also take those applications. Even for those who will be coming for replacement, we'll also take those particular replacement for those parties. But in the main, and I must be clear on this one that there won't be a person who can say, no, I have not collected my ID or I've lost my ID, I won't be able to register to vote, because our offices will be open. If you want a temporary identification certificate to go and register, you will be able to do so.
Yeah. Let's emphasize then again, it's the offices that will be open. What about your mobile systems? Will they be operational?
Yes, our mobile systems will be deployed throughout. Remember, even now, I am in Matatiele, where we are going to be having a high-impact program as well as opening up a new office. So our mobile units are all over. We are now shifting our focus. We want to make sure that the services that we offer go to the people, and the mobile units for us are our very valuable assets that goes out to the people. So we'll always make sure that we use those mobile units, even in areas where they are rural, it's difficult to reach, saving people money in terms of traveling to our offices.
Yeah. Let's move away a little bit from the elections and the registration issue and just talk broadly about the system. And one particular area that has been highlighted in recent days, actually about 3 days ago, is the question of the visa system. The private sector, including big companies, mining companies, petroleum companies, pharmaceutical companies, saying the visa system is currently causing what is called a self-inflicted damage on the economy. Why? Because applying for a visa apparently in the country, it can take up to 48 weeks for you to get accepted. Is that a normal kind of waiting time? When in other countries they're saying it can even take 12 weeks. In Nigeria, I think even 8 weeks.
Well, because in some of the other countries, they kept the number of applications that they actually take. They have quotas. They say, look, this year we can only take 30,000, which makes it easier for them to process. But in our country, we receive all those applications and we have to process them. But where has the problem been in terms of our permitting unit? You will remember, Julie, that we had to fight quite a lot of corruption that had shown its ugly head in Home Affairs. And part of the affected unit was the permitting unit. And there are certain decisions that we had to take to make sure that we kept corruption. Some of those was to sort of centralize some of the decisions that were taken. But now we have gone back. For instance, in terms of the embassies, that process was centralized. We have decentralized it now and take it back to those various embassies, which now makes it easier. Yes, we are dealing with the backlog, but the backlog, I must be open about it, is that it's not for people who are coming in for investment. However, it is mainly the relatives of the people who have made the investment in the country. So it is not true that we are clogging up the investment. Those in terms of first applicants who are coming in to invest in the country who are still within. It is only those that are now applying for their families to come and join them. Not that we are not taking those applications seriously. We are taking them and we are working overnight to make sure that we change things around and we have permits being issued on time.
Yeah. Let's talk about that and then we'll move up to the critical skills in a moment. But why is there that discrepancy between the family residence and the work permit? What makes it difficult for them to be approved at the same time?
Well, you will remember that a person who comes in to make an investment, they will apply for their visa first, establish if they are getting a visa, come into the country, and when they arrive into the country, they set up a business. Only then do they then say, no, our business is set up, we are now settled, let us then invite our family. So that is where the disparity becomes. It means that the person who applies for the visa will then later only apply for their relatives' visa and those next of kin visas.
All right. And where's the backlog now? In September, it was around 74,000 family residence permits that had not been approved, and the reason was given that it's understaffing. I mean, how far are you in dealing with that backlog?
Well, we are dealing with the backlog. I think we recently went to the portfolio committee to report on the strategies of how we are dealing with the backlog. Just as of, I think last week, we just had a meeting earlier this week, actually, dealing with the same issue of the backlog, and we are quite happy with the systems that they have put in place. Well, I will not be comfortable with giving in the figures because I do not have them at the top of my head right now.
Yeah. Let's go back to the other one then. 2015 to 2021, South Africa rejecting 52% of critical skills visa. application. Why are we experiencing this issue?
But because some of them are not really critical skills. Some people will apply for critical skills visas only to find that South Africans actually do have those particular set of skills, and also the documentation that is required. So there is a variety of issues that result into us declining visas. But we do not just decline visas for the sake of declining visas. At the end of the day, we have to make sure that the people who come into the country really do possess those skills, and it is that South Africans do not have those skills.
Yeah. And the people who are complaining are saying these should be critical skills, skills in engineering, skills in sciences, skills in IT. There's an IT company that says we actually we are forced to go and set up our operation elsewhere outside of the country because the skills that we need are not found in the country, and it would be cumbersome for us to bring the personnel that we need here. So we would rather go and set up where they are so they can help us with the systems that we need. There is, I'm sure you know the story, even now they're saying they're seeking legal advice actually to take on the Department of Home Affairs, a CEO of a pharmaceutical company that has not been able to come into a country. So managers at managerial level personnel not being able to come in. They view these as critical skills that we do not have in the country, and therefore should fall amongst those who will benefit from something like your point system.
Well, you will remember that there is a process of determining critical skills which also involves higher education and training and other various government departments. We actually are not the ones who decide that this skill is critical, that skill is not critical. Once we receive that list, we then look at the person when they apply, whether they fall within that category. The issues of the case will then have to deal with the case as they come. But rest assured, we are making sure that we balance both the economic interest of the country as well as the developmental and human development of the country. Because remember, some of the companies that come in, they are supposed to transfer the skill into South Africans so that South Africans can have this very same set of skills. And sometimes they do not do that over a period of time, and they rely on making sure that they continue to export labor from outside. And we do have a responsibility to make sure that the skills are also transferred to South Africans.
Yeah. So there's a view exactly on what you're saying, that it's precisely why there is this bottleneck, that there are those in labor who prefer actually that no skills be brought in, rather that money be invested in training South Africans to do those jobs rather than bringing those skills into the country.
Well, as I've said, it's a tight balance that we have to work. If a person is within the critical skills and has been declared to have critical skills, we have to make sure that we allow that person in. Those who are not forming part of the list, then we cannot do anything about that. But we will strive to make sure that those who are within the critical skills, we process them quickly. The issue of transfer of skills, it's necessary. Remember, people come into the country, they invest resources. Part of it is the issue of skill. So we have to make sure that the skill is transferred to the country. We cannot always just import skill, and that skill goes with experience as well as on-the-job training.
Yeah. You ran the Trusted Employer program, a pilot program at least, and there's a sense that after running that program, there's been a slow pace of rolling it out. What did you find when you ran the pilot program that could be delaying the complete rollout now?
Well, we are continuing with that Trusted Employer program. You will remember it's where you have employers that will register, and then it will be much easier for them to bring in their skills and people that they want to come in, whether through intra-company visa and so on. We are piloting the system, and when we pilot the system, we have to make sure that all the balance and check and internal controls are there in place, because we are talking about the movement of people into the country. But all those who have been identified who will continue participating with us, they must rest assured we are running full steam ahead, and that will be one of the breakthroughs that will make in ensuring that we get the right set of people to come into the country who have the right set of critical skills.
So is it remaining at the pilot phase? When is the full-blown rollout going to actually happen?
Yes, we are already at a rollout stage now.
or you're ready to roll out stage now. Let's look at the other matter then. You got a little bit of a small victory in the courts this past week against the Helen Suzman Foundation, who wanted the courts to, I suppose, force you to implement this question of ZEEPs. Where are you as far as that case is concerned, and what do you make of this recent victory that you've got in the courts?
Well, we are quite pleased with the victory that we've received. Our point is such that the ZEP was a special dispensation, which meant that it had to come to an end, or it has to come to an end. And we have given space for all the ZEP holders to apply for various permits within the law of the country. And that is what we are doing. We have said they must apply for waivers. We are quite happy with the number of waivers that were coming through. And it cannot be that we keep a special dispensation for life, or we automatically say we are accrediting people who are on a special dispensation. So we are quite happy with that, whilst we still go through the legal process.
So of the 198,000 or so, 185,000, I forget the number now in my head, how many waiver applications have you received?
I think the waiver applications were sitting just about 70,000, if I'm not mistaken, just above 70,000 in terms of the figures that we recently received for waivers.
And all those have been approved?
I cannot speak about decisions, which ones we have approved and which ones we have not approved. It's an issue of us together with the client. So on whether this is what we have approved or that what we have not approved. Yeah.
I'm trying my luck there, but I tell you why I'm asking
the
question
I can
because
see.
there are people who are saying the reason why they are not applying for the waivers is that the Home Office is going to reject them anyway. So you are just having them go through the motions where you are going to reject them anyway, and therefore that's why there's such a very low uptake on applying for those waivers.
Yeah, we will not go through the trouble of having waivers, going through applications, vetting them, and all those things if our intention is to decline. That's why we're encouraging those who have not applied. They must apply for their waivers, identify a specific visa category that they think they fall into, and then we'll consider each and every case on its merits and then deliver the results to each and every one of those people.
Dear, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on and sharing the information with us. Deputy Minister of Home Affairs there, Njabulo Nzuza.